Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We're doing something a little bit different today. First of all, we're going to be talking about JumpStart spoilers. Now, this set is massive. We're talking like it's somewhere in the range of 495, 500. There's some crazy amount of reprints in this set. So the set's like 500 plus cards, if I'm not mistaken. So to try and handle this spoiler season, I want to just kind of change the format up. That's why you're going to see I've got a different setup here. I don't know what the sound levels are like. So give me some feedback on this overall setup as we go through the different cards that are available. We're going to cover about the first 25 of the spoilers. I'm going to break this up, hopefully, into manageable chunks, and we'll see how that goes. Now, in terms of JumpStart itself, what's the deal? We're basically... it is like a theme beginner intro style concept, but also meant to appeal to entrenched players. It does come in booster packs, but the booster packs are very different. First of all, they come in 20 card packs, which is odd enough on its own, but each pack will have a specific theme. Now, you can't see the theme until you open the actual booster pack, so you don't get to choose. The themes can be things like pirates, dogs. I mean, I don't know if specifically dogs are in this, but pirates, cats, zombies. There's a Phyrexian one. So they have all these different themes, and the entire booster pack will be based on that theme, and will also include lands, because the concept behind JumpStart is that you take two booster packs, put them together, shuffle them up, and that is your deck. So this is a funky concept, and we do get some interesting specialized lands to go with it. Now, there are a couple of notes. This will come out on Arena. However, not every card in this is going to be entering into Arena for Historic. This stuff isn't standard legal unless it just happens to be there's something in this set that's already in a standard set. So the most of this stuff is only going to be usable in Historic, but they will be putting some limitations on that as well. So let's take a look at this stuff because it looks pretty interesting. We're starting out with Tiny Bones Trinket Thief. I guess I should move the mouse like over maybe here instead of over the artwork. So this is 1 black and 1 for a 1/2 mythic rare. Now it is, I will admit, it is a little bit weird to have the concept of rarities to a degree in this set. Yes, like in most packs you'll get like one rare, as like some packs will have a bonus rare. But overall, the rarity system in predetermined theme concepts doesn't really translate the same way. I guess it's just supposed to try and help you sort out the power level, or I'm not sure, honestly, why they include the rarity symbols on these, but whatever, man. It's nice to see a mythic symbol, so makes you feel good. 1 black and 1 for a 1/2 legendary skeleton rogue. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent discarded a card this turn, you draw a card and lose a life. That is pretty solid. Pay 2 black and 4. Each opponent with no cards in their hand loses 10 life. Wow, that feels crazy. That's nuts. The flavor text says big distractions mean tiny nuisances can slip by unnoticed. That's funky. I like it. The artwork shows a little miniature Tiny Bones running along. He's stolen like somebody's necklace, maybe? That's pretty crazy, though. I mean, he set like a whole building on fire to escape with this gem. That like Tiny Bones don't care about nobody but Tiny Bones. But I have to admit, Tiny Bones is an awesome name, and the idea of having like a little skeleton trinket thief who's always stealing people's necklaces and stuff. Like if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you had Tiny Bones as like part of your party or like a little companion or something, and he shows up. Check out this cool amulet that I got. And it's like, oh no, what did you do? Did you burn down an orphanage or something? I love it. The flavor on this card is fantastic. And it feels like a really powerful card as well. Anytime your opponent pitches a card, you get to draw a card. I mean, that being offset by a life loss, not really that big a deal. And then the crazy, like, yo, is your hand empty? Then get wrecked. That is really, really neat. The next card here we have is Witch of the Moors. So 2 black and 3 for a 4/4 Death Touch Human Warlock. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, Each opponent sacrifices a creature, and you return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Wow, dude, this is my first time seeing these cards as well, unless it's a reprint. So for me, this is my initial reaction to the cards. This is amazing. Are you kidding me? All you have to do is gain life, and your opponent has to sack a creature. I mean, it's not at the beginning of every end step, it's just at the beginning of yours. But honestly, that's super, super easy to do. Gaining 1 life is no big deal. There's a ton of black life gain in Magic right now. And the artwork, dude, the idea of a witch that has all these crazy arms coming out of it. Like, one of them is like trailing black smoke, like it's casting black magic. Got the apple. Do you know what this is? I bet this is repurposed artwork from Throne of Eldraine. They were originally going to do 2 Eldraine sets, and they ended up canceling one of them, presumably to insert Ikoria, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, this right here, the witch, where she's from, the artwork, the feel of it with the lantern and the apple and everything, this 100% feels like a witch from Eldraine. And I mean, witches are already an evil concept, but you add in the multi-arms, and it just makes the witch feel that much more inhuman. That's pretty insane. After that, we've got Entomber Exarch. This is a reprint. This is 2 black and 2 for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you choose 1. Return target creature card from a graveyard to your hand. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-creature card from it. That player discards that card. It's not too shabby. I mean, it's a straight up step up from a Gravedigger, which is 4 mana for a 2/2 that just brings a creature back from your graveyard. So by changing it into a 2 black and 2 instead of a 1 black and 3 like the Gravedigger, you get the ability to make your opponent discard instead. That's a little bit more of a versatile and actually interesting to note that he's not an undead. He's just a cleric. Certainly looks like an undead monstrosity. I guess it's Phyrexian. His Phyrexian nature makes him look that way. It's all right. I mean, that seems like a fine reprint. Then we've got Nyaxathid, which is 2 black and 1 for a 7/7. When it enters the battlefield, you choose an opponent, and it gets -1/-1 for each card in the chosen player's hand. Obviously, this becomes better in multiplayer. So it's interesting because it's a cheap 7/7, but you can't really get like the full boost from it by playing it out early because your opponent is not likely to have an empty hand. And it gives them the ability to kind of decide, okay, do I want to hold back cards? Am I good this way? Like, do I want to let this get bigger? This is an all right card, and this is a reprint as well from, I think, like the Shards of Alara block. The artwork's pretty intense with the crazy like pincher claws. Looks like a gigantic insect made out of a rock formation. Born of volcanic forces, it thrives on the absolute panic it inspires, I should say. Okay, so it's made out of like volcanic rock, and it feeds on fear and panic. Right on. I can get down with that. Moving on. Look at this. Good lord. Reanimate. Now that's a powerful reprint right there. 1 black for a sorcery. That's funny, because when this card originally came out, it was either common or uncommon, but they have it at rare. And it's understandable why it's at rare, because honestly, this card's really strong, and it didn't get that much attention when it came out. So, 1 black, put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. It blows my mind that this can grab a creature from anyone's graveyard. It's already busted enough that it's 1 mana to get a creature back from the graveyard, but anybody's graveyard? Like, that's absolutely nuts. And the artwork shows, if I'm not mistaken, a grave titan. There was a cycle of titans in an earlier core set, and literal zombies just tumble out of this guy's body. You see him ripping up out of the earth with this crazy impressive pose. That's pretty dope, man. And the flavor text is fun. You better be worth it. I like that. That is a pretty straightforward concept. After that, we've got Gravewaker, which I think was just originally created as a core set, like, filler booster. You know what I mean? It didn't, well, I guess I used the wrong terminology there. This comes across as a card, if I'm not mistaken, that was created not to be in boosters, but additional kind of like filler level rares for the little open house decks. But I really like this card. 2 black and 4 for a 5/5 flying bird spirit. Got flying, and for 7 mana, you can return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. The flavor text says it glides on silent wings across the midnight sky. and a dread host rises to follow. And it's like this crazy vulture. The idea of a spirit vulture that raises the dead, and you can see waves of the dead rising up underneath it. It's pretty intense, man. That's an intense concept and a cool card. After that, we have, oh, this is a new one. This one, as far as I understand, this is not a reprint. I don't remember ever seeing this. So this is Kells Fight Fixer. Oh, she's an Azra Warlock. So most likely this is what, like Kylam, the arena? I mean, it makes sense with Fight Fixer. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. This is like set in the arena from Battle Bond, right? Two black and 2 for a 4/3 with Menace. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may pay a hybrid black or blue. If you do, draw a card. Pay 1 mana, sacrifice a creature. Kells Fight Fixer gains indestructible till end of turn. So this is a concept of somebody who arranges for people to either win or lose battles in the Colosseum. That makes sense. I like that as a concept. I mean, does have kind of this like chilling in the Colosseum with her luxuries kind of stacking up. What are those, coins beside her? I think those are coins. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, the idea of like a fight fixer works perfectly on Battle Bond. The idea of sacrificing creatures, could you be like betraying the own fighters you were backing kind of thing, but you gain from it? Like that totally works, right? You tell this person who works for you one thing's going to happen, but then you betray them and you gain from it. Although it's not on like the super most harsh level, because the Battle Bond Coliseum isn't like to the ultimate end of your existence style battles. It's more of put on a show for the crowd, right? So, but overall, I mean, power level of the card feels great. 4 mana for a 4/3 that needs 2 creatures to block it. You can sack creatures to keep it alive, and whenever a creature's getting sacked for whatever reason, you can basically balance out the card disadvantage of losing permanents by drawing more cards. So overall, very, very solid, with some nice artwork. I enjoy it. Kind of a shadowy figure controlling things behind the scenes. Then we've got, oh, I saw this one before. I love this card. Nathe of the Dire Hunt. 2 green and 2 for a 3/3 legendary human warrior. Whenever one or more creatures you control fight or become blocked, draw a card. I love the random combination of whenever you use a fight or whenever they become blocked, because that happens very frequently when I'm playing green. So I love the whole draw a card, draw a card. I love how much card drawing green is getting. Yes, it's conditional card draw, but I'm more than happy to meet those conditions. So, when at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 2 and a hybrid red-green. If you do, double target creature's power until end of turn. That creature must be blocked this combat if able. And that's just insane. Isn't that crazy? Like, genuinely, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you can double somebody's like size and they have to be blocked. I love it. And the artwork depicts Nathe here beside this massive wolf with a gigantic battle axe. Oh, such a cool tribal feel. And it's kind of accented by the nice little flowers and idyllic feel. You know what I mean? It's got kind of like a fabled scenario. I feel like this could be set on Eldraine as well, man. Very cool. Very cool card. Then we've got Nocturnal Feeder. 1 black and 2 for a 2/1 flyer. When Nocturnal Feeder dies, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. A living pulse is an irresistible temptation. So this is a new card that specifically comes along with the concept here of JumpStart. It doesn't feel like super exciting. It's okay. It's not terrible. You know what I mean? Like, it totally has a vampire feel to it. It's got the flying. When it goes, your opponents lose life, you gain life. Like, it clearly wants to drain your blood. The artwork's pretty interesting, with the vampire kind of flying along with these blades that are emanating electricity or blood energy. I don't know. In all honesty, it kind of gives it like a Marvel superhero kind of feel to me. You know, it feels a little bit weird in that way, but overall, yeah, whatever. You know, probably set maybe in Innistrad from the buildings, maybe. I don't know. Then we've got a cycle of lands. There's 1 for each color, starting with the Thriving Heath. These all enter the battlefield tapped. When they enter the battlefield, you choose a color other than their main color. So Thriving Heath taps for a white mana. You choose a color other than white, and it also taps for a mana of that color. So this is an interesting an interesting dual land. You know what I mean? They did, what was it? There was what were they called? I can't remember the name of them, but they were like originally from Lorwyn, and I think they were the Vivid Lands. That's right. They came into play with 2 counters on them, and you could remove a counter from them to get a mana of any color, or you could tap them for their main color. In this case, this is a straight up upgrade. And the artwork for Thriving Heath is quite nice. This nice little field full of flowers. I do enjoy like some peaceful. Oh, wait, wrong direction. I do enjoy some peaceful bits of magic artwork sometimes, you know, especially on lands. Speaking of which, Thriving Isle is gorgeous. This is the blue land, right? Oh my god, look at that artwork. That's like, dude, that looks like a video game. Like, I could picture this being the start of a video game, and we're just like zooming in on this island, and you're some little like tropical boy who has to go on a big journey to save the world. I love it. The flavor text says, all the wonders of the natural world in one breathtaking microcosm. It is beautiful. I absolutely love the look of it. Then you've got Thriving Moor, where this is the swamp, but look at that, man. It's got like these crazy like rainbow effects of little rivers going through it and weird curly branch. I don't know what this plant growth is. Look at these, look like, what are these, like lotus blossoms that fly off into the sky? What is going on with this artwork? This is nutty, man. This is nutty. Beauty appears in strange places for those with the eyes to see it. I mean, who's not going to be able to see this? Although it doesn't look the nice. Thriving Bluff is the red land. And you can see that this is a mountain with crazy little like lines of blue stone running through them. That's funky. As aeons passed, the rock wore away, revealing the rich colors at the mountain's heart. Oh, that's cool. Look, and this is gorgeous. This artwork is great. I love it. I absolutely love it. These thriving lands. Oh, look at the thriving grove. This is amazing. Oh, dude, imagine getting to chill here. Imagine having a little table set up and having like a cup of tea and enjoying this lush wilderness, flowers flying by. Like, oh, love it, man. Not flowers, I should say. Birds flying by. They're so beautiful, they look like flowers. Then we've got, oh, Beefcake. Beefcake Angel. One of every color for a 5/5 flyer. When Maelstrom Angel deals combat damage to a player, you may cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. There is no world where angels fear to tread. That's some cool flavor text. The Maelstrom Archangel looks pretty imposing. And if you look right over here, you can see she actually has like a crazy helmet that goes with the rest of her armor. That's pretty nutty, man. There's not too many angels that are shown with their entire faces covered like they're in plate mail. And it looks like she's got armor along the edges of her wings as well. I love that. I love like stylized armor for beings other than humans, just because it looks so funky. And the idea of like a blacksmith forging that is really cool to me. Plus, this card is buck nutty. I mean, you get to cast spells for free after you slam in with it. This is crazy. I need to get one of these for my cube. That's just, oh yeah, it's a must-have. So, we've got, obviously, there's a 5-color themed pack somewhere. This probably ties into it as well, this Alloy Mirror. So it's 3 mana for a 2/2. Tap it, add 1 mana of any color. With or without witnesses, the sun continued their prismatic dance. And you can see a mirror here standing in front of the sun. The mirror looks stupid. I've never cared for this, like, this card or this artwork. It's fine as a card, whatever. A 3/3 that taps for a mana of any color is not bad, right? It's not awful. But the artwork is like, whatever, man. Let's move on. Auger Spree, we're back on Ravnica here. 1 black, 1 green, and 1 for an instant that says target creature gets +4, -4 until end of turn. Finally, a weapon that Boros can't confiscate. From Jury, proprietor of the Jury Review. So you can see in the artwork, this is clearly a terrible way to go. Massive, like, volcanically heated drills drilling through you, cutting through you like butter. No, thank you. That looks horrific. The fact that if you can survive it all popping out of you, that you can swing them around as gear for yourself is pretty intense, but oh, yikes, what a way to go, man. Very, very vivid. Then we've got Chamber Sentry. Again, this is going to be one of the multicolored themed, like 5-cost ones, or 5-color ones. So it's X mana to cast. It's a 0/0 that enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter for each color of mana spent to cast it. X and tap it, remove X +1/+1 counters from it to deal X damage to any target, and pay one of every color to return the chamber sentry from your graveyard to your hand. So obviously a very versatile answer, reusable. You've got the funky artwork where you have this guy who is clearly not a chamber sentry, because I never noticed this. He is not guarding a chamber. He is literally outdoors. How is this a chamber? What are you... what? Whatever. You know what? I'm not going to get too caught up on that. Because you can just go, well, you know what? He's just patrolling around a chamber somewhere. All right, fine. That's funny to me. You can see the two little people set beside him for scale. He's got a gigantic scythe. That's pretty intense. The idea of this, like, golem that can break apart and smash people up and then reassemble itself with enough magic infused to it. I'm down. Moving on, we've got Dinnrova Horror. 1 black, 1 blue, and 4 for a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, return target permanent to its owner's hand. Then that player discards a card. Welcome to the Dimir Public Offices. Not responsible for death or loss of property. Basement off limits. Sign outside the Dinnrova building. Imagine you're in Ravnica, just this gigantic cityscape. You wander into what is the public office of a guild, and in there's just these crazy beasts that like steal your thoughts, wipe your mind, and eat you. Like that's mega intense. I do like the Dinnrova Horror as an actual card as well, man. Playing this out, making your opponent bounce something and discard something feels great. Feels great. And for the cost that it is and the body you get with it, it doesn't feel unfair. You know what I mean? Like 6 mana is a lot of mana. So that feels like a decent deal for it. Then we've got Fusion Elemental. 1 of every color for an 8/8. This card was a little more exciting when it first showed up in the Alara block. I mean, it's 5 mana for a vanilla 8/8, and the restriction is you have to pay 1 of every color. That doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? It feels pretty restrictive for what you get. The Maelstrom Angel costs the exact same thing as this. And that's a 5/5 flyer that lets you cast spells for free whenever it hits your opponent. And this is an 8/8 with no abilities. You know? Unless you consider its flavor text and ability, which I don't. The art's cool, though. You know what I mean? Like, you can see he's an elemental fused out of different elemental types. Like, he's part fire elemental, part ice elemental, part, like, nature wood elemental. That's a cool concept. Moving on, we've got Ironroot Warlord. The original Ironroot Treefolk cards talked about their mating habits. How weird is that? How absolutely bizarre is that? Anyways, 1 green, 1 white, and 1 for a X5. Its power is equal to the number of creatures you have out, so it starts out as always as at least a 1/5. You pay a green, a white, and 3 to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. And it says, alone it's a fortification. At the head of its troops, it's a battering ram. It's alright. I mean, a gigantic tree folk that, again, here's like, this armor looks more cobbled together for him than made for him. You know what I mean? When it comes to a tree folk, it's going to keep growing or whatever. It's already got a bunch of bark, so reinforcing certain places of it with metal armor helps it feel like a warlord. But I do like the kind of rough and ready and not polished and finished style armor they've given him that ties into the armor of the soldiers behind him like they are part of a unit. So that's cool. Then we've got Law Mage's Binding, which is a blue, white, and 1. It's a flash, instant speed enchantment that just shuts off one of your opponent's creatures so they can't attack block. And its activated abilities can't be activated. Pretty straightforward. And in the artwork, we see 2 Azorius Arresters who have arrested clearly an agent of the Rakdos for some crime. It's hilarious. The binding's like, this person doesn't seem that big, so I guess they must have magical powers that make them a threat. Then we've got, oh, that's very random. Mirrodin's Core. What a bizarre choice. Taps for colorless, tap it, put a charge counter on it, tap it, remove a charge counter, add 1 mana of any color. Oh, okay, that's why it's here. It's here to work with all like the 5 cast different color guys. Fair enough, fair enough. All right, I mean, the artwork is part of Mirrodin's Core. It's very underwhelming, so I don't have much to say about that. So let's just move on to the next card. Prophetic Prism. 2 mana for an artifact that when it comes into play, you draw a card. 1 and tap it, add a mana of any color. And the explorer who found it got a bad deal when he sold it. He merely got rich. He didn't realize it was a magical bauble, right? Like, He didn't understand how to tap into its magical powers. I find the artwork on this card to be very funky, but I'm also like, aren't you afraid you're going to be blinded? Like, it's blasting rainbow light into your face. The idea of this stone that can help you filter your mana and your thoughts, that's a pretty powerful prism. You know what I mean? One that can prophesize the future. That's a high level of power. I can see why these would be sought out. And it's interesting how the artwork kind of mutes out the color and tone of everything except for the rainbow blast directly around the one eye. Very cool conceptually. Moving on, we've got Raging Regisaur, a green, a red, and 2 for a 4/4. Whenever Raging Regisaur attacks, it deals 1 damage to any target. Its breath is a gale, its roar is a volcano, its anger tears soul from flesh. That's some impressive flavor text, but the card is like, I mean, look at him. He's running around yelling, I'm going to get you, while he's chasing a little monkey thing. So, honestly, like, when you look at the artwork, he doesn't feel like a big 4/4. He doesn't feel like he's going to pull your soul away from your body with his anger. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad card, but it's just not anything amazing. You know what I mean? Out of all the stuff that we've looked at here, it's definitely like a, okay, whatever kind of card. All right, my friends, well, those are the spoilers that I'm going to cover for this video. Like I said, I'm trying out a new format here. This is also hopefully going to lead into some changes for the live streaming that I'm doing. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I should have another spoiler video coming out today so we can go over more of this. And yeah, thanks for coming by. If you like what I'm doing, this channel is fan funded, so consider joining my Patreon, and I will see all of you lovely people very soon.